What's going on, everyone? So, according to Critical Overlord, many of you may be familiar with his YouTube channel. Go check out his YouTube channel after this video, of course. But yes, Critical Overlord, according to him, an Olivia Morris-style death is rumored to occur at the Pine Grove High School auditorium. So, I can't even show you Olivia's death. That's how bad it is, right? Like, without this getting like age restricted and stuff. So, if you want to know what I'm talking about, I mean, Google just Olivia's death and you'll see why I can't show you the images. It's one of the more brutal deaths in the entire Scream franchise. If they go this route, I would love it, right? Because this Scream has been rumored from the jump to just be darker, more brutal, more gritty, right? Ghostface is just, he's brutal, right? Doesn't play around, no games, no nothing. And it's something that I've talked about I really like with Scream 5 and 6, right? I really like having a Ghostface that just doesn't play games, right? Like, it's no nonsense. I really love that about Scream 5, right? Like, all the kills, right, were not the typical Ghostface toying with you. The only one that really was Jenna Ortega, Tara's death, right? That was the only one that was like, but that was purposeful, right? They wanted her to stay alive. They didn't want to kill her. They wanted to use her as bait to lure Sam back, right? So, other than that, like, you look at Wes and Vince and Judy and all these others, I mean, even Dewey's death, they were all surprise attacks. They were all surprise kills, right? Like, you think you're safe or whatever, and then boom, Ghostface just sneaks up behind you, right? Like, and if Ghostface was toying with you, it was through distractions, right? Like with Vince's thing, it was a distraction to kind of distract Vince. So boom, you could, sneak up behind him, and it wasn't Ghostface kind of, going toe to toe with people and trying to fight them off, right? And I like Ghostface not being as clumsy, not, because it's one of the things, right? Again, I love the Scream franchise, my favorite horror franchise, but Ghostface was always a little clumsy. It's why, like, Scary Movie was so funny, where he's like, oh, I gotta quit drinking, right? Like, because it's just like, at times it's just like they're tripping over themselves and stuff. It's like, which I get shows kind of the inexperience, but I like the idea of just like a very precise Ghostface, right? I like the idea of a more brutal, dark Ghostface. It's one of the things I've really liked about Scream 5 and 6. I've been very critical of Scream 5 and 6, but there are things that I think that they've done well, and Scream and Ghostface, I think, is one of those things. Scream 6, my only problem was no one died, but I really liked the tactical, militant Ghostface. And I've talked about, if you could combine those two, especially in today's world where, training in martial arts and, MMA and UFC and all this stuff is just such a huge thing, right? It makes sense that you'd have some of these high school kids that, have trained and are, diverse in martial arts and stuff like that. Because again, it is a very common thing in today's world. So to have kind of like a militant, versatile type Ghostface that is also very brutal and dark, I do think would be a really good combination. And it also kind of makes more sense. It's high school kids that are running around killing people, right? Like that. They're doing it in a more brutal surprise attack way. So that way it is, because that was a big thing that a lot of people like, oh, Amber's so small. But again, if you go and look at the actual attacks, it made sense, right? Amber wasn't, going fisticuffs with everybody. And the one person that she did go fisticuffs with, and Dewey, she got manhandled and bodied, even with the weapon. Right? Dewey still was able to handle business. And then it wasn't until Gail called that she was able to get the jump on him. Otherwise, probably cooked. But to get back to the actual, like, kill itself, I would love to see that, right? Again, to have a Olivia-style death, which, again, is one of, if not arguably, the most brutal in the entire franchise, right? That was the death where, the room was just plastered in blood, and Sydney is sitting there at the doorway just like crying because she just sees it. And again, I can't show, I wish I could show you the images, but I'm telling you, like, this video would get age restricted and all kinds of stuff. So either go back and watch the scene, or just like Google search the images and you'll see exactly why. I mean, it's make believe, but YouTube's algorithm doesn't really care, right? So again, I mean, even the images, like when I was Googling the images to just see, because I was like, I know it's brutal, but is there one that's like kind of okay? Like even Google like censored some of the images, and I was like, all right, yeah, like this is definitely something I can't use to the matter that I wish. But but that's good, because something that I've talked about is like I really want them to get to like epic kills, right? Memorable kills. Like Olivia, great kill. Getting into kills that, like I talked about, like the Scream series had some of the best kills in like the entire franchise, right? Like whether you love the Scream series or not, the kills are awesome. Like they have some really just good, creative, dark kills that I really want to see kind of implemented in the Scream franchise. I've talked about this dating back to Scream 5, right? I'd love to kind of see these, unique. Let's get a little clever here with some of these kills. Let's get a little clever. Like, I'm okay with Ghostface getting off the knife here and there, right? Like, I mean, obviously we want Ghostface. We don't want Ghostface running around with like a shotgun or something. It's going to be a very quick movie. But, improvising, or just like a Ghostface having fun and just being like, there's a wood chipper here. Instead of me just stabbing him, let me pick him up, throw him in the wood chipper, right? Like, and Scream has always had kind of off the knife kills, right? Like CC Cooper getting thrown off the balcony and stuff like that, right? Like things that come to mind. Even in Scream 6, right, with Annika, right, where she gets dropped, right? And so yeah, I mean, good memorable deaths, good memorable kills, right? If we can have stuff where it's just like, ooh man, like like again, this is a slasher film. It's a horror franchise, right? Like there should be, those kind of kills that really kind of send an audience back a little bit, right? Like that really kind of, those tough to watch scenes where you're just like, oh man, this is rough, right? Like, because you want to be able to put yourself in it. And look, in reality, like this type of thing is not pretty, right? Like this would be like there would be more Olivia style deaths if this was, real life. And Scream has always kind of tried to mirror realism, right? So it would be a very brutal, just monstrous death, right? Like, and so I can see them kind of getting back to that. I could see a couple kills that way, especially if they, like I said, if they have a Scream 5 type of Ghostface with a, Scream 6, like I mentioned, militant tactical type of Ghostface. Like I could really see a version of this where like every kill is just like, wow, right? Like every kill is just over the top and crazy. Because, one, if you're crazy enough to do something like that and you want to make sure they're dead and stuff, it's just, you're probably not going to be like super gentle or really thought like, oh, I'm gonna poke them 3 times, right? Like, no, you're just going hammered, right? Like you're just going to town, right? Like, so that's kind of how I look at this, and would likely be the approach that I could see them taking. But it'll be interesting. We'll see how this all plays out. Obviously, like I said, everything's a rumor until it actually comes out. But it does, like, this is something that I do believe really makes sense, right? Like I do think this is something that I don't think is like surprising or shocking to hear, like, oh wow, no way, right? This is something that I think is very believable. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion. Pass question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? What are your thoughts? Do you love the idea? Do you hate the idea? Kind of mixed in the middle. However you feel, whatever your thoughts are, I'd love to hear it either way. So let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me out. Helps me enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel. What are you doing? Hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.